It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Friday, December 16th, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So what is happening on this wonderful Friday? Yes, it is Friday already. We've got current news from around the world, the word study about the Wednesday message, and of course, let's testify with Thule from Australia. Oh, right, everyone, how are you doing today? Yes, we can breathe a big sigh of relief. It is already Friday. Friday has come. I'm sure all of you are getting ready to enjoy a relaxing weekend or just a time where we can enjoy, recharge, revive, listen to the Sunday message, get new direction and realizations. So I'm super happy and thankful that all of you guys have joined us here, kicking off this weekend together on the Morning Star Drive. Keep liking, commenting, build the community. I want to hear from you guys, see how you're doing. Post your song requests, questions, stories, whatever it is. Super looking forward to talking to you guys over there. And I hope that you guys can also comment on other people's comments too. Let's build a platform and a community where everyone just feels comfortable. We can say all the things we want to say. All right. So just the other day, I went on a cafe hop. Right. Really, really fun. I was hanging out with some of the people, like with one person that I brand new friend I met from YouTube and Instagram, and now this person's like a cafe hopping buddy. So yesterday went to like 2 different cafes, so that was really cool. They introduced me to 2 new cafes that I have not been to, and I really, really like them. Also, what's been kind of cool over the weekend is I'm actually going to head to a Christmas party at a former faith church, right? And I am so interested in these things just to see the difference. I'm not sure if that makes sense to you guys. Like, what makes it so comfortable? What makes it so different that you can get this feeling from like a former faith church, but it's hard to find it in a Providence church? You know what I mean? Like, you're just kind of trying to look to find the differences and what works and what doesn't work. And the one thing that I thought that was probably the big point I talked about before too is, like in Providence, we have such a huge division and split when it comes to ages and departments that they're never mixed together. And when I look at the former faith church, everyone's mixed. Girls, guys, families, parents, children, campus, career, everyone's mixed together and everyone talks and chills. And it's really, really an amazing environment. So it's something that I haven't seen in over 20 years because the last time I saw that was when I was in the former faith too. So it's really interesting. And everyone's just enjoying their time together, enjoying each other. And I think the thing that really, really shocked me the most was how much the parents are into God. Like when they praise, they praise without any embarrassment. Hands are in the air. They're their eyes are closed, and you know when like sometimes when a praise song is playing, there's like a musical interlude. They have no issues with just calling out to Jesus and just calling out, and you see tears coming out of their eyes too. So it's just a different way of being raised, and I think it's something that we do have to think about, getting to that comfort level with each other, and getting that comfort level where we can do all the things that we want to do. So I'm super, super excited and happy about going to that just to see, just finding the differences between the two things. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'll be doing that tomorrow, I believe. And also interesting is I think this week's Wednesday message was awesome because it talked about 2023 a little bit more in detail, not fully, but a little bit more in detail, and very thought-provoking. Right? Because, we're not getting the exact details of what 2023 is about, but what it talked about, like I'm going to talk about this at the Wednesday message, the word study a little bit more today. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Like I'm going, whoa, like, yeah, like that's how big it is, 2023. So I looked at that and it was super thought-provoking, interesting, and mysterious at the same time. So, that kind of made me think about, as we have 2 weeks left in 2022, and I think it'd be cool if you guys commented on this too, is if there's one thing that you could change before 2023, what would it be? What would it be for you? If there's one thing that you could change before 2023, what would it be? And I thought this to myself because if I put it into words and if I really express that one thing I want to change, because I put it into words, it becomes reality and it's something that I can really, really start towards. Like, it's not something that's impossible. And the one thing that I thought to myself is like a super deep prayer life. You know, like that connection, so deep, so vibrant. Like it's that feeling you just can't wait to get into prayer. And having that depth of prayer that makes me want to say everything in my heart, feels so heard by God. That's me. That's the thing that I was like, you know what? Before this year ends, I've got to get to that, right? And that's something that I want to do before 2023 comes along. I want to reach that level of prayer, like consistently every single day. So that is probably one thing that I want. I'm not sure about you guys. You guys write in the comments below what you guys would want. What's that one thing you would want before 2023 comes along? What's that one thing that you say, oh, I wish I could change this? And the reason I'm saying this is the moment we say it is the moment it can become reality. And sometimes we realize it can be, it's a lot easier than we think it is. All right? Poll. The poll is, a lot more people that are voting at the polls. Well, how much money you need to make to be more comfortable? Now the 100K is dropped down to 60%. So around 100K is at 60%. And then comments and 250K is at 12%. They're tied. 50K is at 9%. And the lowest is set at 7% is 500K. So I actually thought that 500K would be the lowest, and it's actually turning out that way right now. I actually thought that 50K would be higher, but it's really not that far away from 250. It's only like 3% away. But 100K is the 60%, like the vast majority want. I think having around 100K a year is going to be comfortable. And I personally, for myself, I think you can live off 50K too. Like, that's not a problem. Be comfortable with 50K also. I could be comfortable with 50K also. I could be very comfortable at 100K. I'd be super comfortable at 250, and I would be ecstatically comfortable at 500K. Right? I would be ecstatically comfortable, I think. So, of course, in my heart, we all, when the greed kicks in, we want more and more and more. But ultimately, to be comfortable, especially living by myself, 50K is way more than enough. Way more than enough, yeah, for living by myself. Now, of course, if I had a family, I'd be thinking a little bit more. But a lot of families still live off 50K in the States and stuff like that too. So it's not like it's impossible. Either way, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that too. Espresso with Sky. I did the video. I am so happy. I did it. Yes, I did it at a cafe. Really, really happy and excited about this because finally another video will come out. Yeah, I missed a week and I'm like, oh, I can't miss these weeks. But I'm very, very excited and happy that I was able to make this video. So hopefully, guys, you'll enjoy that one too. It's on my rear window braking. So yeah, so that's kind of what it is. Either way. So let's get into some music from member artists from around the world. And today's featured artist is none other than Mariah Henry from America on this relaxing Friday. Gonna play a relaxing song to Lost Ones. After that, we have Chunghae from Diamond Wings in Korea with Dear Mine, which is also very jazzy and relaxing. And then we'll end things off with Youngse from South Africa with their brand new song, I'm Proud of Us. And she remixed it, so it sounds a lot better too. So I hope you guys will enjoy this also. Man, when I look at these three songs, very, very relaxing set on this relaxing Friday, all right? Everyone, enjoy this amazing music from member artists from around the world.
I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. We stay looking for someone to hold when the right one's standing at your door. Open up your heart and say, I believe in what you say, and I promise you will gain much more. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. wait to see you no more, just calling your name. And the ones who wonder who, just open up your eyes. He's waiting for you too, he's not a man in disguise. And the hardest cross to bear, but your heart's not what I wear. To think this effort and this love could overcome the dirty stairs. And it's all because of you, yeah, it's all because of you. Said it's all because of you, yeah, I need you. Looking for someone to hold when the right one's standing at your door. Open up your heart and say, I believe in what you say, and I promise you will gain much more. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now that I need. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now that I need.
어디서부터 어디까지 생각해야 할지 이 작은 한 걸음조차 어디를 뛰들지 머리가 온통하해질 때 내 지난 길 돌아보면 그대라는 희망이 빛나요 시기와 음해로 얼룩진 말들에 내 진심이 베이지 않게 그대를 등불 삼아 난 나아가요 어려움도 아픔도 이 또한 지나가는 중인데 나를 주어진 길을 난 사랑하겠어요 진심을 과장한 이기심에 거친 참견들 적당히 듣는 척 흘리는 팁에 그대가 준 용기와 사랑이 내 믿음과 기적이 돼 힘내어 나아가요 지켜봐줘요 And keep in mind 묻어있던 걱정들은 털어내 흘러가는 시간과 섭리의 흐름에 맡겨 And keep it up 떠나질 우릴 위해 나아갈게요 There's all water under the bridge now The truth is diamonds 따띠라 따따디따 따따띠라 따따라라리라 뚜뚜 따뚜 따따뚜 따라라리라 뚜뚜 따뚜 따따따 나를 주어진 길을 난 사랑하겠어요
It's been a long year, but I'm still here. Feels like a long time, had a lot on my mind. And every ghost that haunted me, in His name I overcame. And I know there were things I wanted to show. There were promises I couldn't keep. And there were times I didn't feel the fire. But I am here, so I'm proud of me. You've been holding on, dear, and the same. And I know there were things you wanted to show. There were promises you couldn't keep. There were times you didn't feel the fire, but you are here, so I'm proud of you. There were days I thought this world's too cold, but the vision we have never gets old. The dreams of 1,000 years should be told. The dreams of God should be told. And I know there were things we wanted to show. There were promises we couldn't keep. You have regrets, I have them too. But the purpose we're holding on to, yeah, the purpose we're holding on to, we're cut out to do. We're cut out to do.
And there it is. That is Youngsit from South Africa with I'm Proud of Us. And that remixed version, she remixed it, and it is good. I really like this recording the best. And just the sound levels are really good. So super thankful for all the hard work she's putting in. Great song, and just the producing of it makes it even greater. Before that was Chunghae from Wings in Korea with Dear My, and of course, feature artist of the day, that's Mariah Henry from America with Lost Ones. All right, so let's get into some news going on around the world. And of course, as brides of this history, we have responsibility to pray for this world. But in order to pray for the world, we need to know what is going on. So let's first start off with what's going on with China and their COVID situation. Hospitals under strain in wave of infections. China's hospitals are already under so much pressure following the country's rapid 180-degree shift in COVID policy that doctors and nurses could be infecting patients. It seems frontline medical workers are being told to come in even if they have the virus themselves because of staff shortages. A Chinese professor specializing in health policy has been monitoring the crisis in his home country from Yale University in the United States. China's hospitals have hastily increased their fever ward capacity to meet a huge influx of patients, but these have been filling up quickly, in part because the message is still not getting through that it's all right to stay at home if you catch the virus. A rush on pharmacies has led to significant nationwide shortages of medicine used to treat a cold or the flu. Home testing kits for COVID are also hard to come by. In Beijing, though restaurants are allowed to open again, they have very few customers and the streets are quiet. Companies are telling employees that they should return to the office, but many don't want to. And this all makes sense when you consider that just weeks ago, the government was saying that there will be no swerving from zero COVID, that those infected must go to centralized quarantine facilities, and that lockdowns were necessary. The coronavirus was something to fear, and Chinese people were lucky to live here because the Communist Party would not sacrifice them on the altar of opening up. Now the goal of returning each outbreak to zero cases has been abandoned. COVID is spreading like wildfire, and the line from the government is that catching this disease, it's not something to worry about. China's easing of COVID restrictions was expected to unfold more slowly, much more gradually. Then the street protests came, city after city, with demonstrators demanding their old lives back, and they wanted to be free to move around again, and there were clashes with police, and the chant was going up for China's leader, Xi Jinping, to resign and for the Communist Party to give up power. Now, this was the straw that broke zero COVID's back, and according to Professor Chen from Yale University, this meant that the timing of China's reopening was not ideal, but they had to do it. He said countries like Singapore and New Zealand made their changes when infections were at bay. However, China has moved with full-blown outbreaks underway in cities like Beijing. The government heard the voice of the protesters, he said, but added that this was not the ideal choice for them in terms of timing. So the protesters may have won, but the speed of the cave-in from the government has left elderly people afraid to leave their homes.
For sure, the next couple of months are going to be tough here. Millions of people are going to get sick and there will be many deaths. However, the old approach was clearly unsustainable, and at last, people can see a way out. So, yeah, it's quite unfortunate that they're kind of like in a catch-22. It was kind of a very draconian way of dealing with the virus, of doing like a full lockdown. And then on top of that, not everyone got the vaccine. On top of that, the vaccine was only like 60 or 70%. The efficacy rate was like 60 or 70%, so that's pretty low. So even people who had the vaccine were still catching it, right? Because the efficacy rate was so low, right? Like if you look at like Pfizer and Moderna, it's like 90+%. So I think it's something that they need to deal with, but we do know that this full lockdowns is not the answer, right? We can already see what happened over here in America and Canada, and in Europe, and a lot of these have to, because of that strategy, we just had like the economy completely break down. And then on top of it, people are staying home locked down and they're getting depression, mental health issues, suicide, substance abuse. Yeah, it was not the wisest way to deal with this worldwide pandemic. Even in the early 1900s when the Spanish influenza came in, and that Spanish influenza was more deadly than the coronavirus, and they didn't handle it this way. Like, it wasn't even close to what they handle it today. And today, yeah, there's a lot of problems happening. And when you look at what's happening with Twitter, as they're opening up all their archives of how they discuss with the government, you see that Fauci, especially in America and such, it wasn't a very good system that they were bringing out, and there are a lot of lies that came out too. But, that's something we could see more and more as more information comes out too. Secondly, let's go to the Ukraine and Russia war. An explosion in central Kyiv amid air raid warning. Ukrainian officials say they shot down over a dozen drones during a Russian attack on the capital city of Kyiv early on Wednesday morning. Reporters heard loud blasts shortly after the air raid siren sounded. Explosions rocked the central Shevchenkivsky district, Shevchenkivsky district as air defenses shot down what were said to be Iranian-made Shahad drones. Russia has repeatedly targeted Ukrainian energy infrastructure since October with missiles and drones, and Kyiv governor Oleksiy Kuleba accused Russia of continuing its energy terror against our country with the latest wave of drone attacks. But the National Energy Grid Manager, Ukrenergo, said that Wednesday strikes did not damage any energy facilities and hailed the brilliant work of the air defense forces in a post to its Telegram account. President Zelensky said Ukrainian forces had shot down 13 Shahid drones, which he said amounted to all those launched by Russia on Wednesday. Governor Kuleba said a drone fragment had hit an administrative office in the city and 4 residential buildings, but a spokesperson for the city emergency services told Ukrainian media that no victims had been reported in the strike. Russia has been targeting the country's energy grid in recent months in what Ukraine says is a bid to demoralize its population. Temperatures across Ukraine have dropped below freezing, but there were no indications of a big new wave of Ukrainians fleeing their homes or their country. Global leaders have said the strikes on civilian infrastructure amount to a war crime, but last week Russian President Putin defended the attacks and said they were in response to a blast on the Russian bridge to annex Crimea on October 8th. The strikes come amid reports that the U.S. is preparing to arm Ukraine with its state-of-the-art Patriot air defense system. Senior defense officials told the Reuters news agency that the announcement could come as soon as Thursday. The system is among the most advanced in the world and is usually in short supply. Due to its long-range capability, it could potentially shoot down Russian missiles and drones before they come within range of Ukrainian cities. But unlike Ukraine's existing air defense systems, Patriot systems require large crews to operate them, and it could take several months to train Kyiv's forces to use it effectively. Russia would likely view any attempt to arm Ukraine with Patriot defenses as an escalation, and former President Dmitry Medvedev, who is now deputy chairman of the National Security Council, warned against the move last month. So, it's still going on. As crazy, this war has been going on since February. Like, we're looking at 9-10 months already, so that's pretty crazy. Like, we're looking at 10 months, right? Let's move lastly into Africa, and we go to the Democratic Republic of Congo. DR Congo floods leave more than 120 dead in Kinshasa. More than 120 people have been killed following the worst floods in years in the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kinshasa, the authorities said. Major roads in the city center were submerged as heavy rains continued for hours and several homes collapsed. Many of those who died were in hillside areas which suffered landslides on Tuesday. The government has announced a 3-day period of national mourning. Entire neighborhoods were flooded with muddy water and houses and roads ripped apart by sinkholes, including the N1 highway that connects the capital to the country's main port of Matadi. Kinshasa is located on the River Congo and has seen a huge population influx in recent years, with 15 million people now living there. Many dwellings are shanty houses built on flood-prone slopes, and the city suffers from inadequate drainage and sewage. One of the main reasons why this is happening is because of the poor housing and poor planning, right? And this comes from Longombo Dieudonné from the Red Cross Rescue Team, and they told this to the BBC. When it rains, there is no path for water to flow because people have blocked drainage paths with their houses, and water will find any path to move. Weather presenters have said, although the information from the area is limited because of lack of weather stations, they think in excess of about 150 millimeters of rain fell around the capital on Monday night, early Tuesday morning. And it's also hard to be certain of the forecast for the next few days, but there is a potential for further showers and storms around, perhaps lasting into the weekend, but not as intense as we have already seen. In November in 2019, about 40 people in Kinshasa died in floods and landslides too. So prayers go out to, that's a lot of people, 120 people died in that landslide. Like, we look at all the major atrocities that happen, like for instance in America, and you're talking about like 20, 30 people dying, but we have these floods and all these other major disasters happening in other parts of the world, and you have like hundreds, sometimes like hundreds of people. This is over 100 people died in this flood and mudslides too. So prayers go out to all the people that were lost over there in Congo. All right. So that moves us into some sporting news. And of course, the last semifinal leg happened just this morning for me. And it was the World Cup, Morocco versus France. Morocco, the Cinderella team. And France comes out on top 2-0. And they set up a chance for back-to-back World Cup wins. France is on their way to a second consecutive World Cup final after goals from Theo Hernandez and substitute Randal Kolo Muani gave the French a 2-0 win over Morocco at El Bait Stadium on Wednesday. The only other countries that have have won like 2 in a row, defended their World Cup championships is Brazil in 1962 and Italy in 1938, and that's it. They're the only ones who have successfully defended the World Cup, but France can join that illustrious group after reaching the final with a hard-fought win over Morocco. They beat England in an awesome battle too in the quarterfinal stage, and yeah, great matchup. We're going to see Argentina versus France. That's going to be a great matchup. That's like Mbappe with his teammate Messi against each other. So I think it's going to be a very awesome matchup to watch that World Cup final. In NBA news, the collective bargaining agreement opt-out decision moved to same week as NBA trade deadline. The NBA and its players' unions have agreed to extend the deadline to give notice of plans to opt out of the collective bargaining agreement to February 8th. The sides announced in a joint statement on Wednesday. And prior to Wednesday's agreement, the opt-out deadline had been Thursday, but now it falls one day before the season's trade deadline. The league and union said in their statement that they are making ongoing efforts to reach a new agreement. The 7-year CBA would expire after the 2023-24 season, but if either side exercises the opt-out, the agreement would end June 30th, putting the NBA at risk of a possible work stoppage. Sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski that last week that the NBA is pursuing the implementation of an upper spending limit that would replace the luxury tax with a hard limit that teams could not exceed to pay salaries. The league's effort is in response to large market contenders like the Golden State Warriors, Brooklyn Nets, and LA Clippers running up massive payrolls and luxury tax penalties, according to Wojnarowski. So it is quite fair because if there's no limit and you're just paying taxes on it, if you're super mega filthy rich, then it doesn't make a difference to you. And there's not every team is like that in the NBA. Last but not least, let's go into mixed martial arts. Pound for pound rankings are out after last weekend. And still on top, it's Alexander Volkanovski, featherweight champion. He's 25-1 at the moment. Number 2 is Islam Makhachev, and he's a lightweight champion at 23-1. Kamaru Usman at number 3. He used to be number 1, but Kamaru Usman is at number 3, welterweight champion, 20-2. Israel Adesanya, he lost his title. He's at 23-2. And last but not least, the top 5 is Francis Ngannou, heavyweight champion. He is 17-3. All right, so there it is, guys. That is the top 3 news in sports and news from around the world. So you know what that means. It is the golden time.
yes, this is the golden time, a time of praise and worship to the Holy Trinity. Hope all of you guys are looking forward to giving glory to God and the Holy Spirit. So, what are we going to praise and worship today? We're going to start off with an oldie but a goodie, the Flute of Truth, and then we'll get into the place where the Lord dwells, and we'll end things off with Jehovah God. So, as one body of the Morning Star Drive, let's spend this time giving praise, honor, and glory to the Holy Trinity.
I just want to be right next to you. With a heart that is so full of praise, I have come to finally realize, my Lord, you're surely in this place. Always until the end, you kept your promise that you'd be with us until the end of time. Oh my Lord, you never have forgotten us. You are by our side and bless us endlessly. Lord, you are always there. Please accept our praise. We are so in love, we just want to live with you. When we think of the way you're always here running with us, we're so grateful, Lord, and we just can't forget. We're in this church of peace and love abounding. I'm rejoicing in this heaven on the earth. With my heart set firmly on that world of gold, I will keep my faith and glorify your name. Lord, you are always there. Please accept before all things and for eternity. Jehovah, mighty God,
His majesty, His glory completely fill the cosmos. His love and His great power completely fill the whole world.
I will dwell within Him alone, and I know He dwells within me. He leads me with the true word of life. Jehovah, mighty God, eternal, mighty God, creator, mighty God, God of the perfect word. He is our mighty God. Creator of the earth and sky, He who made everything. Jehovah, mighty God, He who exists before all things and for eternity. Jehovah, mighty God, His majesty, His glory completely fill the cosmos. His love and His great power completely fill the whole world. I will dwell within Him alone, and I know He dwells within me. He leads me with the true word of life. Giving all my heart, I've lived according to His word. Giving all my life, I've lived according to His word. Look at all He's done in my life, His infinite power. There is nothing in the world my God can't do. He displays His mighty power through the word. Jehovah, mighty God, eternal, mighty God, creator, mighty God, God of the perfect word. He is our mighty God.
And that was Jehovah God. Before that, the place where the Lord dwells. And of course, that first song is The Flute of Truth. All right, now that our hearts are made ready through the time of praise and worship, let's get into today's word study. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Part 1 and part 2 of the message was just like, oh, okay, I know these parts here and here. But the third part was the one that I was just like, wow, that's so crazy. Like I was really, really inspired by the third part. Just so many things that, I think all of us have been thinking about, especially when it comes to 2023. Now, I think one of the things that we do, I like the clarification in the very beginning when it talks about why are we talking about Jesus so much now. Well, we kind of get the answer as in the past, when it was a time for the rapture, we needed to know the actual source of where salvation comes from the Holy Trinity, right? And that's why the focus came on Holy Son, Holy Son, Holy Son, Holy Son, right? So that people can actually focus on the rapture. But now that the rapture is over, we can start to fully and clearly focus, understand clearly the real picture, like the full picture together. During the rapture, we had to focus on the Holy Son, and now we get the full picture, and it's Jesus who came together with the Holy Son, and now it's time to fulfill the history in a perfect way, right? So one side was specifically geared towards the rapture, and now we're back into where it should, we get the full picture once again, okay? So this is, like, for me, when I heard it's like, this is the most important time since the rapture. Which means that if you look at all of history that we've been through right now in the last 45 and a half years of this history, number one is the rapture. And number two is this time right now when we hit 2023, right? And of course, you read in the book of Daniel, I think Daniel chapter 12, it's like, hey, blessed is those that wait for the 1,335 days. And this is when everything is fulfilled, right? So it's kind of like, this is so interestingly, amazingly, shockingly, mysteriously, magnificently, whatever you want to call it. It's like, wow, this is the second most important time since the rapture. And that is mind-blowing, like mind-numbing, actually. Like, what does it mean everything's fulfilled? Especially at this time when Sunsy's going to trial and he's going to be in trial for almost all of 2023. What does that mean? So what history is going to happen? And Sunsy's like, no. The issue is not about what's going to happen, right? Because we don't know, right? So even when history was finally fulfilled at the time of Jesus, he actually died, right? So it's not like if you focus on what happens, then you could get discouraged. So it's not about what will happen, but how are you spending these days, right? What are you doing right now that's going to determine if you even reach that day? And I'm like, what? So it's kind of like if I wasn't someone in Providence, I'd be thinking it's the end of the world. If I didn't learn anything in Providence, I'd be thinking, oh my gosh, the world's gonna end next year. If I was just someone who didn't know any of the 30 lessons, I'd be like, the world's gonna end. But it's like, hey, what happens? Something's gonna happen next year. It could be good or bad. We're not sure. Something could be tried, whatever it is. It could be good or bad, right? But what are you doing now to reach that day? People are going to get shook, right? It's almost like this earthquake of faith is going to happen. People are going to get tested, right? So even in my head, it's like, oh my gosh, does that mean we already know the verdict and the result of what's going to happen? But I was just kind of like, wow, that's so crazy. And guys, this just reminds me, don't forget to pray for Sunsim's trial. I believe it's today, right? Pray for the trial, for the prosecutors, for all the lawyers, for the judges too, that they can all come to their senses, right? So, but here, I'm just like, what? It's not about what's going to happen. It's about how you spend these days right now to determine whether you will reach that day or not. And I was just mind blown, right? Everything will be finally broken for us to know what is real and what is genuine. So what does that mean? Like a lot of the words that were being said, it's kind of like, it was so veiled and mysterious. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, everything will be finally broken for us to know what is real and genuine. Like all this, like the seals will be broken. Then we're gonna know what is genuine. Then we're gonna know what is real. And then something goes into just like the storms and the winds and the rains, they need to blow to know which trees are deeply rooted. So I'm kind of like, wow, okay. So we know it's not going to just be like this crazy blessing, like, wow, this is so great. It's actually going to be some tribulation happening next year, right? The way that Sunsi put it, without the wind, the rains, or the storms blowing, you will not know which trees are deeply rooted. And this is why we have to endure, right? Then all things are completed, which means it goes to that most famous, I think I got to get I should have got it when I was in Canada.
get myself a hoodie and a sweater, do it until the end, like that. Those hoodies and stuff I should have got from before, but I was like, man, I should have gotten it, right? Go until the end. Don't be shaken until that day comes, which means until that day comes, there's going to be tribulations, hardships, and difficulties. And I'm sitting there like, it's not a scary thing. It's actually really, really exciting. Right? It's almost like the like they say, it's darkest before the dawn, right? It's always darkest before dawn, right? It becomes the darkest point before the sun rises, like, ooh. And this is something that we have to understand is look at ourselves right now, right? It's not about what's going to happen next year. It's about what do you do now to determine whether you will reach that day or not. We got to pray. Right? If anything else, we got to pray. The evangelism is supposed to happen next year. It's supposed to be fulfillment of evangelism. Like tons of stuff supposed to go on. I'm like, wow. We've come this far because God has been with us. We've had the words of God. God's will has been with us too. And here's God making history regardless of the situation that's happening right there. We have to be strong, stable. We have to be those that do not crumble and go until the end. Right? Look at all the other things that we fulfilled in history. Like the greatest thing, the most important was the rapture. That was fulfilled in tribulation and hardships. But now there's one remaining. Oh, that's so crazy when you hear that. There is one remaining will remaining to be fulfilled. One remaining will to be fulfilled. Isn't that mind-blowing, guys? Like we're at the end. Like when we think about the 45 and a half years, the time the time where the centrifugal runs, that 45 and a half years is done. It's ending. Which means what? Which means we're stuck in like, what? And there's one thing left. And we're all like kind of in anticipation in this mysterious, well, what's left? That one remaining will. What is left? And then it's like, oh yeah, and don't miss this time and opportunity. I'm like, oh my goodness. We cannot miss this time, which means, if anything else, the number one thing is don't crumble. That's the number one thing. Yes, we're going to have difficulties. We're going to have ups and downs. And all these different things are going to happen. God is not saying to us, you have to be in 1,000% better than you are now. You have to be 10 times. No, don't crumble. Do it till the end. Don't crumble. Even if it's difficult, keep the time. Even if it's difficult, keep it. And he's like, now that the World Cup is on, he's like, yeah, you know how great this blessing is going to be? It's going to be so amazing. It's going to be like winning the World Cup, where the whole world, sending their best players, come together, and you win the first prize in front of the entire world. Do not crumble. Do not miss the time. Do it until the end. Do it until the end. And it's a very, very interesting thing, the way that Sunstein put all these members of Providence as seeds, right? Or grains, right? There's grain in the chaff, and the chaff is what's been thrown away. And Sunstein's like, straight out, we're all grains, 100%. Right? Not a single chaff is here. But even among the grains, some will be in the golden fields, others will be saved, and some will be eaten, and some will be rotten. Like some will rot. But never become those that are rotten or eaten. Right? And that's something that we have to look in ourselves too and say, have I reached that point? God's history is happening. And sometimes we forget that in the midst of chaos, in the midst of tribulations and hardships. We forget God's history is happening. It's being made right now. Right? And it's like a sobering reminder. We have one will left. Guys, have you guys ever heard that to yourself? It's like, man, if I just did that one thing, that one last thing, if I just told my mom I loved her, if I just told my dad this, and I wish that I said this, and I wish that last thing I could have said to them, right? This is the last will, the one remaining will, and it's kind of mind-blowing that we've reached that point. We're at the last will. Like I'm sure there's other wills, like smaller wills that are going to happen after, obviously. It's not like the world's going to end or something like that. Like we still have wills to do, right? The smaller ones, but this seems like it's the last big one. It's the second greatest time other than the rapture. And that's why we have to push forward. That's why we have to manage ourselves. That's why we have to save lives. That's why we have to go until that we finally reach that day. It's not about what's going to happen next year. It's about what are you going to do right now so that you can reach that day? We got to go until the appointed time that God has given us. We got to. Yes, we may not be harmonious, right? Sometimes we're not harmonious. Sometimes, even though we're great, some people said we're going to fight with each other. That's normal, right? Yeah, that happens in every church, in every organization, in every family, there's fighting. It doesn't mean you hate each other. It's just fighting. But we need to be the ones that first recognize how big 2023 is. One will remaining to be fulfilled. The second greatest time other than the rapture. And the biggest thing was, make yourself, just don't crumble. What are you going to do right now? And that was the mind-blowing thing. I'm just like, wow. Like, we didn't really realize how big this time was. We're just kind of in our own worlds, doing our own things, right? Not realizing how big this time really is. And that was something that I looked at and said, wow, that's something that I have to, you have to kind of, like I was telling you, like even from the beginning of this week, really thinking deeply about 2023 and what do I need to change? What do I need to close off? What do I need to end before 2023 comes? So I hope that you guys can answer that comment too that I did at the very beginning, which is if you could change one thing, what would you change before 2023 comes around the corner? And I think that's something that all of us have to think about very, very deeply too. So I couldn't think about after, I'm listening to the message like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, Elijah, okay. God works through the Spirit. God's Spirit works through the body. Okay. And then went to 23, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so crazy. This is nuts. It really, really is nuts. It really is. And I thought to myself, like, so much. Now, I'm not saying that we have to change everything in our life, obviously. But we've got to prepare ourselves and be ready for the 2023, right? Managing yourself, saving lives. Managing yourself and others, saving lives, right? Get up at the right time, the pre-dawn time. Don't miss the opportunity. Don't miss the time. We got 2 weeks left. Let's do it properly, all right? So I'm ecstatic, excited, everything all together just to see that all these things happen. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. It really, really is. And I was like thinking to myself, 2023, I didn't realize how big it really was. It's the second greatest time. Like it's the greatest time other than the rapture, right? That's like kind of like, if you look at like in the Bible, it's like how the greatness of Moses, right? He is the greatest other than Jesus kind of thing, right? So you're looking at such a great time that we're living in right now. And that's the thing that's really mind-blowing to me. And I'm not sure what you guys think. Go ahead, write in the comments below of how like shocked you were by that parts on 2023. Either way. So there it is, guys. That is the word study for today. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. I enjoyed it a lot. I really did. And just talking about 2023 makes me excited. All right. So now that our word study is done, hope you guys really enjoyed that. Let's get into the last section. Not the last section, sorry. It is the last musical section for today. And of course, it's Friday. And usually I play songs like you have to guess where that, what movie it actually came from, naming some actors and stuff like that from that too. But today I'll do a little bit different. I'm going to play, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same. I'm going to play a song, but you need to tell me which musical it's from. All right? So everyone, please enjoy. Let's listen to another Christmas special and just comment below what movie is this song from.
There's a saying we have up north that helps us put our best foot forth. If you want to deck the halls for Mr. C, make sure they're sparkle, jolly, twinkle, jingly.
What the heck is that supposed to mean?
Just more the usual home office bug, Dick.
When a room is gloomy and its atmosphere has called it quits, then you must remember that December is a time for glitz. Never stop until each limb on your Christmas tree is sparkling, jolly, twinkle, jingly. Pick up every ornament that's sitting, waiting on a shelf. While you're busy decorating, why not decorate yourself? Soon you'll bring a smile to every person you see.
I'm sparkle, twinkle, jolly, what?
Close enough! And if you're at a loss, remember the phrase that says, to thine own elf be true.
To thine own elf be true.
For when it comes to Christmas displays, look inside and you'll know what to do.
You'll know just what to do. Put some cheery folderol on every wall and every nook. Tinsel up each corner till it's Christmas everywhere you look. Give the world a holiday that's bright as can be. Make it sparkle, jolly, twinkle, jingly.
Yes, what a great and fun song. Hope you guys really enjoyed that one. What movie, or what musical, did that come from? And I'm sure a lot of you who've probably seen this musical and it's also a movie musical too. I'm sure you guys have seen this, but a very, very fun Christmas musical. Either way, so now that the last song of choice is done for today, let's get into today's last segment, not only for today, but for the entire week. Yes, we have Let's Testify with Thule from Australia. Everyone, please welcome her as, I hope that you guys prayed for her as she was a little bit sick last week, but please welcome Thule from Australia with Let's Testify.
Hey fellas, this is Tully with the next episode of Let's Testify. I'm really glad you could be here today, and welcome to anyone who's new. And I hope this is a lovely experience for you to hear some testimonies from around the world and to share grace together. So if you'd like to share a testimony, just feel free to reach out to me on the email address below in the description. And I thought last week was going to be my last podcast on the subject of positivity, but I was inspired to do this last one today on this topic. And I pray that it can help anyone who has struggles with negative thinking, or someone who knows someone who does. And I hope that it will benefit you and be that little something that helps you take a few more positive steps towards growing a healthy and positive mindset that helps you enjoy your life more, whether the circumstances go up or go down. So yes, today's topic is positivity, and it's specifically related to thought loops. So I'll explain what thought loops are. So in very basic language, the feeling part, the emotional part of your brain is wired to the front part of your thinking brain that is responsible for what you focus on. So this means that what you focus on affects how you feel. In other words, your feelings follow what you focus on. It's possible to activate both positive loops and negative loops. So what kind of loops? It's like loops of thoughts and feelings, or feelings and thoughts. They go round either in a positive way or in a negative way. So what is it that activates a positive loop? Well, it's focusing on what is positive, whether it's something in the past or the present or in the future. I'll give you a few examples. So just say you've had a work meeting, and if I focus on what was positive, I could say, I really appreciate the team I'm working with. They really make me feel valued, and I feel so lucky to be surrounded by work colleagues that I enjoy working with. Likewise, a negative loop is set into motion by focusing on what is negative. So in the work meeting, instead of focusing on what was going well, I might say, oh, there's that one person that always interrupts what I'm saying in the meeting. I feel so hurt that they just cut in on me. They don't do it to anyone else. They just do it to me. I can't think about anything else when I'm in those meetings. So yeah, that's what a positive and a negative loop might look like. And when I was at uni, I was given a gratitude visit challenge. And this challenge was to do something called a gratitude visit. So it has about 4 points to it. So I'll just walk you through it. First, it was to identify someone in your past who has done something that has changed your life for the better. And then number 2, write a letter to that person explaining why you feel so grateful to them. Number 3, plan a visit with them. And number 4, when you meet, express your gratefulness for their influence in your life and read out loud, yes, out loud, the letter you have written about them. While this challenge is most powerful when you complete it face to face, this is like the part of the instruction of the challenge. While it's better face to face, if it's not possible, you can complete this challenge over the phone. And this challenge might take you outside your comfort zone, but it will be incredibly uplifting. So I went ahead and I did this challenge. And at the time, yeah, I used to struggle a lot with negative thoughts that used to always loop downwards, negative thoughts. So I decided to do it with family members, 2 of my family members. And at the same time, I remember in the Word that Sonsengnim kept encouraging us to really be thankful for what our parents had done for us in the past and how many thousands of times they have taken care of us, whether it's changing our diapers or, taking us to school, making our lunches, all of those day-to-day activities, or whether there were bigger things where they emotionally supported you, or it could be a whole variety of things that your parents do for you. So I did that both with my mum and my dad, and I was so buzzed myself when I did it. I really felt the power of positive thoughts really build a lot of muscle when I did this exercise. And it set in motion some more positive habits. And because you get such a buzz out of doing it, and the other person that you're talking to really benefits a lot from it, it gives you a great taste of being positive, and you want to try it again and again and again. And you get addicted to the positive sensation. So this started a great cycle in my brain. And I kept doing it in small and big ways. And it's just made my mind go from strength to strength. So within just like sharing about this gratitude visit, just sharing my testimony in the process, that it really does work when you focus on what is positive, whether it happened in the past or now, or you can think about even future visions that you have, future goals, future dreams that you're excited about. So by focusing on that, your feelings will follow suit. Sonsengnim gave us that homework last week, which was to write down 70 or more things to be thankful for that happened in the whole year of 2022. And he said, if you don't have 70 things you can be thankful about, you lived the year complaining and grumbling. Okay, so last week for me it was a huge week of writing around 200 reports. and I got it done, but I haven't quite finished my Sonsengnim homework. So I think I'm up to about number 30 of things that I've been so thankful for this year. So I hope you can finish that too. And also you can try the gratitude visit. I hope it works for you guys, and have a wonderful weekend. And let's really pray for Sonsengnim at this important time. Peace.
And thank you so much, Tuli, for another wonderful episode of Let's Testify. And I'm sure, I know just reading the comments, many people are inspired and moved by this segment. And I hope that you continue to do more and more of these episodes, because it is affecting a lot of people. And I hope that all of us too will continue to comment for her and just encourage her in the work she's doing on this segment. All right? So there it is, guys. That is the final segment for this entire weekend on this Friday. Hope everyone has an amazing and awesome weekend. And we'll see you guys again We'll see you guys again on Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion.